Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I'm Tony Luffman. This show is all about you, the fans. You get to ask the questions to today's guest, Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Ross Stripling. There are two ways to ask a question. Click the green button below and sign up or sign in for your chance to ask that question live. Or tweet us the questions using the hashtag Chatting Cage. Without further ado, let's bring Ross Stripling into the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Ross, thanks for joining us. First thing, how good does it sound when you hear the words All-Star Ross Stripling?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I don't think that'll ever get old. I think just to think of where the season started, just trying to make the team out of spring training, find my way into the bullpen, and then guys get hurt, get into the rotation, and all of a sudden I'm starting every fifth day and make my way into the All-Star game. I mean, just a whirlwind of a season, but it's been a lot of fun.
Your hard work paid off. We're going to Twitter for a question following up on this very theme. Kyle Coletta tweeting this out. What were some of the challenges you faced in going from the bullpen to the rotation?
That's a good question. Luckily I spent a lot of time starting before I ever made my way to the bullpen. So I had a routine that worked for me in college, through the minor leagues, and then my rookie year in 2016. So I had an idea of what I wanted to do as a starter. And it's nice to have the peace of mind of knowing exactly when you're going to pitch, and you can kind of set an exact schedule. Like day one, you're going to do this, day two, this, and so on. So, the hardest thing is really just learning how to get guys out a third time. Out of the bullpen, really all I ever did was face guys once, rarely twice. So, it turns into the chess match of trying to get someone out a third time. And when you're going against guys like Goldschmidt, Arenado, Joey Votto, like guys that really know what they're doing and game plan against you as a pitcher, you got to be that much smarter trying to game plan against them. So it's just the chess match, like I said, of getting guys out multiple times and just, obviously keeping the stamina and keeping a routine going, make sure you're ready every fifth day.
And you held your own. It's time to welcome in a live question on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage with Ross Stripling. What's your name and what's your question?
Hey, Ross. This is Ryan Clubb from Eureka, Missouri. Yeah, my question is,
hey Ryan.
How you doing, man? After playing with and against you throughout college, how has the game been different from college, especially now that you're having a breakout season this year in the league, especially with the All-Star nod?
That's a good question, Ryan. Good to see you, man. We go way back. We played summer ball and played against him in college, so good to see you. The difference is, man, obviously the level of competition is insanely different. If you think in college there's still outs throughout the lineup where guys, you can just challenge. In the big leagues, it's not really like that. Everyone can hit. Everyone was the four-hole hitter in college or in high school, So what changes is you just got to get confident that you belong at this level. As a rookie, trying to get guys like Goldschmidt, Arenado, Votto out, like I mentioned earlier, it's hard to feel like you belong in the realm of those guys. Like, how can I get those guys out when they're getting paid millions of dollars to hit the ball 400-plus feet? So I think it's just logging innings and logging time in the big leagues and just trying to get used to feeling like you belong at this level and getting guys out. But, that's a good question, man. I remember watching you pitch in Missouri and then summer ball. You could get guys out at this level too, man.
Do you have a follow-up?
I appreciate it. I'm old and retired now.
Yeah.
Hey, but good luck out there, man. Congrats again on the All-Star nod.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Great stuff there. And as long as we're touching on your college experience, how about this question from Coach Kaminsky on Twitter? What was your best memory from playing baseball at Texas A&M?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm third-generation Aggie, so I was going to be an Aggie no matter what. So just making my way onto the baseball team as a walk-on was pretty special. Two things that really come to mind are, for one, I threw a no-hitter on graduation day against San Diego State. I was supposed to supposed to walk the stage, and asked my coach if I could flip-flop with Michael Wacha, obviously the guy with the Cardinals now, and I could pitch Friday so I could walk on Saturday. And the coach said, no, this is too important of a series. We need to keep it how it is. So I said, okay. But my whole family was in town, everything, and ended up throwing a no-hitter on that day in front of my whole family, which was pretty special. And then obviously making it to the College World Series in 2011 is something I'll remember forever as well. So a couple really good memories of my time at A&M.
No kidding. That's great stuff there. It's time to welcome in another live question on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage with Ross Stripling. What's your name and what's your question?
Hey, what's up, Ross? I'm Donnie from New Jersey. How's it going?
Hey, man. Doing good. How are you?
Good. So my question is, a big story from last year's playoffs was Yasiel Puig looking at his bat. What's your personal opinion on this, and is this the strangest superstition you've ever seen?
It's pretty strange. in Major League Baseball, you'll see some funny superstitions, that's for sure. Guys not washing their socks and all that kind of stuff, but I'd never seen anyone lick their bat. Definitely not the most sanitary thing I've ever seen, but it's Puig. You never know what he's going to do. I think the famous slide where he slid in a third and slid his tongue around everywhere, you just never know what that guy's going to do. So the bat licking thing has certainly taken a life of its own. You see him do it all the time now. And, ever since he got back from the DL, obviously he's back on the DL now, but he was killing it. So whatever he does to make it work works for us. He keeps it interesting and fun to watch, that's for sure.
And it's been fun for Dodgers fans to watch the team advance in the postseason the last couple of years. The next question from Twitter, Joy Wagner 82. What was the experience like to be able to pitch in the postseason the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I've been unbelievably blessed and just spoiled my first 2 years here in the big leagues. Brandon McCarthy was my teammate last year. I think he went 10-plus years in the big leagues and never got a chance to make the playoffs, and I've done it my first 2 years. So extremely lucky. The metaphor I've used to pitching in the World Series is, let's say you were sitting in the stands before the game and someone came and asked you hey, you want to go on the field? And you're like, yeah, of course. And they bring you on the field. It's right before the game, and all of a sudden they hand you a microphone and tell you to sing the national anthem. It's just that kind of like nerves, just thinking about having that kind of anxiety. That's what the World Series was, but obviously the fun and the excitement and being with your teammates of it trumps that, But like I said, just extremely lucky to have been in the playoffs these first 2 years, trying to make it a third year in a row. There's really nothing quite like it. It has just a different aura about it, all the excitement, kind of like do or die. It's just, as good as it gets in the baseball world.
Very well described. And your team is in sole possession of first place for the first time this season. So no doubt there are a lot of Dodger fans that feel good about that, as you talked about trying to get back there. Let's take you to the EDJ question of the day. What does it mean to be selected as an all-star, particularly in having worked your way back from Tommy John surgery?
Right. I mean, it means the world. Like you said, coming off of Tommy John surgery in the minor leagues, just not really knowing if baseball was going to be my future. Obviously, Tommy John has a high success rate, and there's a good chance that you come back as good as you were before, but you never know. That's when I got into the whole stock market side, if you've heard that, where I started focusing on a job that I could fall back on if baseball didn't work out. And luckily came back healthy. The Dodgers put me on the roster, made my way onto the team in 2016, and just kind of grinded between the rotation, the bullpen, making some starts, back to the bullpen, and now, found myself back in the rotation this year. And it just feel honored to be a guy that they can trust to give the ball every 5th day to get outs, because this is an organization that demands to win, and we expect to win. And, they have historically gone out and gotten other guys, but for them to trust me, someone from the organization that they've built up and had from the draft, to take the ball every 5th day, like I said, and give us a chance to win, and they've trusted me and stuck with me, and then with that to earn an all-star game nod. I mean, it's just really special, something that I don't take for granted, something that is really, like I said, special, and I'll be able to have my family and my friends and my wife up to D.C. this week to watch me in that game, and just something I never expected back in February and March, but, obviously very, very fortunate and very excited.
That's a great answer, and Dave Roberts knows what he's going to get when he gives you the ball. Let's go to Twitter. Amy Reagan, 19, asks, what was it like when you visited New York and went to the stock exchange? You just mentioned the stock exchange a moment ago.
Yeah, that was like a kid in a candy store. It really was. I didn't know what to expect. They just kind of came up to me a few days early and were just like, hey, would you like to visit the exchange in New York? And I was like, of course. I've walked around Wall Street a little bit, but I've never gone inside any of the buildings. Didn't know what to expect, but they absolutely rolled out the red carpet for me and just went out of their way to make sure I had a good time. I got to talk to some of the guys on the floor and kind of discuss what their job is day in and day out. Got a tour of the whole building, the New York Stock Exchange. And, every trade desk has a big monitor above it, and on the monitor was just like a montage of me striking guys out, which got me all pumped up. So it was just really cool to kind of see the separate world that I might have been in if baseball didn't pan out, and, just see what those guys do every day. And they grind and hustle as much as we do. So it's, like I said, a kid in a candy store, had a lot of fun, and something hopefully I can do every year going back.
Baseball is panning out. Your stock is very high as a pitcher. Let's welcome in Bryce with a question for Ross Stripling on the Edward Jones chatting cage.
Hey, Ross, how's it going?
Hey, Bryce, doing good, man. How are you?
Good. I just want to first congratulate you on your All-Star nod. 2.08 ERA is pretty ridiculous. Secondly, on behalf of my fantasy team, I picked you up early in the season. You've been crushing it, so I appreciate that. And my question today, I just have to ask about your curve. First of all, it's a little faster than the average curve in the major leagues. Just technically, can you explain how you get that bite on your curve, such depth, and how it's harder? If you could just walk me through that. I don't know if you have a ball kicking around or not, but thanks.
I don't. If I had a ball, I could show you, man. Sorry, I don't see one laying around. You know, a lot of people ask me about my curveball, and I wish I was some guru that could teach it. Essentially, man, I throw a spike curve. So I put my knuckle on the ball like this, and I throw it like a football. If I'm talking to a younger kid, you know, and is just starting to pitch, I tell him to throw it like a football, you know, kind of like this motion where you're going to just whip it straight down. And forever, I tried to aim it because it had so much vertical break that I felt like I had to really kind of like cast it and aim it to get where I wanted. And this year, my pitching coach, Rick Honeycutt, was like, man, you got to throw it as hard as you can. The best curveball guys that I've ever talked to, he threw out Sandy Koufax, Rich Hill. Here you go, we found a ball. Clayton Kershaw, they throw it as hard as they can. And I've never been like that. And this year I just bought into that mindset, and it's really helped. So I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to see this monitor. So try and get a good vantage point. So you can see I spike it where my whole knuckle is on the ball, and I'm trying to whip down as hard as I can on this lace right here and just create as hard front spin as I possibly can, 12-6 spin. And I think one thing that helps me is I throw from such a high arm angle. You know, if you look at other guys that have curveballs like Morton or Nola, they kind of throw it from out here. So they're going to get more of a horizontal movement when mine is from such a higher arm angle that it's got more of that 12-6. And I think you know, what's really happened is I've just learned to trust it, throw it as hard as I can in any count, and just rely on its spin and its break to get outs for me in big counts.
Hats off.
That answers your question.
Yeah, that's a thorough answer. Hats off to you for sharing that. Rick Honeycutt, great piece of coaching there. It's clearly working. The results have been great. Let's get another live question on the Edward Jones chatting cage with Ross Stripling. What's your name and what's your question?
Hey, Ross, my name is John Glass, and I was wondering where you got the nickname Chicken Strip.
Yeah. Hey, John, how you doing, man? You know, that's a good question. I wish I could remember exactly who came up with that one. What happened was we have Players Weekend, you know, where they come and they ask you to put a nickname on your back, on your jersey. And with the last name Stripling, you got Strip, and with Strip comes some slightly inappropriate names that I was trying to maybe throw out there, and they deemed those inappropriate and unacceptable. So I was trying to think of other ones, and I'd certainly been called Chicken Strip since high school, even by like coaches and friends and buddies, and just went with that one, and it caught on like wildfire, man. I feel like every time I walk out before a game or just shagging BP, people are yelling Chicken Strip at me. People have me write Chicken Strip on baseballs when I sign it, so it's really taken off. It's been a fun nickname. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to do it again this year for Players Weekend. But to answer your question, I don't remember exactly where it came from.
That's a good story. Max Muncey's been a good story for the Dodgers. This next question has to do with him at the Home Run Derby. M. Kerwin93 on Twitter asks, what do you think of Muncey's chances in the Home Run Derby? He, of course, is facing off with Javi Baez in the 3-6 seeding matchup.
Yeah, well, Javi Baez hit a homer off me a couple weeks ago, so I don't know. You know, Muncey's also been raking me since he was in high school, so that's two guys that I've given up some homers to in my day. But I'll take Muncey for sure, especially in that park. It'll go out to right field. He's a lefty. You know, I watched him take BP over the last couple days. He's hit some big homers. I feel like he's starting to get ready. So certainly taking Muncey, taking my teammate, and obviously what he's done this year has just been incredible for us. So hopefully he can keep the magic going and win a home run derby. I mean, just a total dark horse story coming in winning the home run derby. So that'd be awesome.
It's a good in-depth scouting report. Ross Stripling, thanks so much for joining us, and have a blast at the All-Star Game.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.
Our pleasure. The Edward Jones chatting cage. Happy to have him with us. We thank you, fans, for enjoying this edition of the Edward Jones chatting cage. We look forward to the very next time we have one of these. Of course, we'll have more shows all season long. Check back here for the next edition of the Edward Jones chatting cage. I'm Tony Luffman. We'll see you next time.